Taste, taste, taste. Yeah. Check, check. So, guys, we're going to start the evening program very shortly. If you've finished your biscuits, I'm sure you can come and sit down. So we'll get cracking. Thank you. So if you are at home waiting for us to start, good evening, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to our program. Are we online, live? We're on live. Welcome everybody if you are at home. We are just regrouping after quite a busy early session where we were able to do our scavenger hunt, and we were all critiquing and not critiquing, we were putting our hands up. We had a little malfunction with our technology, so we went back the old-fashioned way tonight and put our hands up and chose our various favourites. I did see a little bit of cheating going on, however. I did see hands going up more than once, and I did see people voting for their own things. Never mind. So welcome to this evening session. My name's Heidi. As you're taking your seat, please can you make sure your telephones are off also, so we don't get any interruptions with your ringing. You can put them on silent as well. Hello. Do you want me to go that way? Okay. I'm not in the way. Cool.
Yep.
So some of us got an email in the week from Janine and Diane, about the finals night. So just a little reminder, if you are available to help out on December the 7th, they will be very grateful for extra help to put the pictures up
just the down area.
and provide some assistance organising the whole room, really. And also the cut-off date for the prints. So if you have any prints that have got an acceptance, a score 3 or above, please could you bring them in by the 23rd of October. Please, they've asked you to label the top right of your print to let them know whether you want it a landscape orientation or a portrait, just so they know which way to hang it. It has happened. We've put them around the wrong way sometimes. And sometimes they look better that way. So. It just in our own opinions, though, of course, you know. And they asked if you can include the title in the print, the competition number, 2024, and your membership number. This is all in your email, and just in pencil, just put your grade. So that in the future, if you're going to send them to a judge, you can rub out that grade. LS, PJ, or P at the back as well, if you want to put them into a further critiquing, judging, on the evening as well, or on the, pre-evening. So next week we've got newcomers, which is, the 16th of October. We have newcomers where we do different presentations. To be confirmed what we're doing, I'll send out an email and let you know what we're doing in the evening. It doesn't necessarily have to be a newcomers evening. It is an all-inclusive evening. So it might be things that you know, which you, if you are able to do, would be wonderful, just to assist those that can't. So if we're doing something like ICM, so intentional camera movement, it might be something that you have got great experience on, and you could actually share your experience, but you would have to sort of just sit through maybe a couple of YouTubers just to show how it's done. So it's quite a fun thing to do. I would like to now, without further ado, hand over to Nicola, who's going to introduce the judge for the natural history competition, who's here tonight with us. Sorry, no, I'm John. John wants to have a quick word too. My apologies. Sorry, John, you told me 2 minutes ago and my brain lost it already. There you go.
Thank you. Here's another hands up moment. How many people here are members of PSNZ? How many people put images into Canon Online? Well, you're missing out. I sent out an email today to all the people in CPS who are members of PSNZ, explaining there's a change in the way in the future we're going to get images into the system. And this is going to make my life as the administrator of it so much easier. So I encourage those people that have received the email to put an image in as a test. It's purely a test, it's not a competition. We just want to make sure that the system is actually working the way we intended it to work. And it's been developed by Neil Gordon, who's one of the PSNZ database people. Done it very quickly. I think it's only taken him about a week and a half to set it up. What you see is where you can put your image in. If you have done Canon Online before, you'll know that we put your image in and you think about 2 weeks later, oh, I didn't like that image, or did I actually put one in? You've got no idea whether or not what it was. You can't change it. The new system allows you to change it. It allows you to change the title. So it makes it a lot simpler for you. And like I say, for me, because I sometimes get 2 or 3 entries from people because they've forgotten that they put one in or they weren't sure. So I do encourage you to please try and put an image in and test it out so that we can make sure the system's ready for next year when we have the 25 rounds. Thank you.
Cool. Lovely. Nicola, thank you.
Right, I'd like to introduce Murray Cave, that came along tonight to judge our natural history PI3. He lives up in Gisborne. Murray enjoys wildlife, action, photojournalism and creative blurry photography. When he's not taking photographs, he was a geologist by training and worked in the primary oil and gas industry and environmental sectors. He now lives in Gisborne as a principal scientist for the Gisborne District Council. He's a member of the PSNZ and Nature Photographic Society of New Zealand, the Greymouth Photography Club and the Kapiti Camera Club. Porirua, okay, cool. And he's an accredited PSNZ photographic judge and is also the immediate past president of the Photographic Society of New Zealand. And I know he's off to Okarito in the next few days to go and check out the white heron, so I'm very jealous. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Murray, and if he's got any further to add.
Alrighty, can everybody hear me? Good, you can. Well, I was immediate past president, I think, of PSNZ a while ago now. It's really great to be back, and it was really great to assess all these images. And I must confess, particularly since in 2023 and this year, I have very deliberately not done a huge amount of judging. Last year was probably pretty obvious if I living in Gisborne. It was our year of storms. We had 9 severe storms, and obviously 3 of those were a bit excessive, and the others were bad enough. And so that kept me busy. So I did a lot of photography last year, and well over 10,000 images I took for work. But they weren't the things that normally you'd enjoy taking photographs of. So I was taking photographs of munted houses, flooded houses, landslides, huge amounts of wood on beaches, and also a bit of forensic stuff. We had a fatality on the beach, a little boy killed with a log, and I had to go and photograph that. So not a best time to take photographs, but for some of you might think that's wee bit. Some bits of it you might have actually enjoyed. 38 chopper flights last year taking photographs, and several hundred hours of drone flying as well, also taking lots and lots of photographs. So anyway, that's my life. So you're about the 4th club I've done judging for this year, and 1 more to do, and that's it for the year. But I really enjoyed doing this, even if it was just in time, as Nicola will tell you. Because I tend to be rather busy at work. So anyway, let's just move on to it and find the right button. I'll just guess. Okay, I can see my comments here, but you can't. I really find it hard using your criteria that you have actually on your judging thing. So I tend to wing it a wee bit. And I guess the key thing about it, I like the composition of this. But also one thing I always tell people is always look for distracting elements around the edge. And you won't see it when you're taking the photograph, but you see it instantly if you're looking at it. And so can anybody tell me where the big distraction is on this one? Right there at the bottom. And the thing about that, and particularly in this instance here, you could easily crop that out, and that would actually make their focus go on the bee itself, and actually just improve it a wee bit. But it's a good image, and for life of me, I can't remember what on earth I said. I think this was should have been an acceptance from memory. No, wasn't. Okay, that's right. You guys are pretty tough on your judging, aren't you? So, but you know, there was lots of potential here, and I think sort of pursue that, and it actually looks a wee bit sharper there than what on the screen, but that's the bias of the screen, I suspect. Okay, good story here. Now I can tell you almost exactly where that is at Kaikoura. Out there on the shore platform. But again, one of the things, again, you spot here, what's the distracting element that you can see here in this image? You've got that thing right at the top there where you've got that little cone of rock, sort of, that really starts to compete with the image. And it's really good, you see them actually sort of almost quite sweet, and they're actually sort of interacting with each other. But you really like to see more, and you have plenty of time with seals. You know, you don't actually have to take a snap and hurry at it. Take your time, just sit there and wait for them, and they'll do something really, really interesting. When I'm down south, I often go to Kaikoura and take photographs of seals, and I normally just sit there in my non-high-vis, in my semi-camouflage clothes, and sit and wait for them to do something. And particularly if it's in the pupping season, they'll do some odd things, like they might actually start coming up to you if you're just sitting there nice and quietly and just start poking around. And that's when you get the really good shots. So my main comment about here is take your time, think about the light. Obviously it's very, very bright here, and that has let you down a wee bit, but also think about those distracting elements in your image. And that again, I think was not accepted. I had to get used to your scoring system. This one here is a good story. Tui's doing what tuis do, yelling and screaming at each other. But there was, when you have a good look, and I guess my problem is, I've got a 4K screen at home, so you can see every single floor, which is probably a bit of a bummer for you guys, because I can see things that possibly you're not seeing. But overall, it looks fine here, but it just came out a wee bit sort of not quite sharp enough, and the background was a wee bit dull. And I think it's really think about your f-stop here, so you actually get the depth of field managed right. Obviously, everybody talks about the hand-to-man. I normally don't bother too much. But the tags on the legs are perfectly acceptable in nature images, because if you wanted to photograph birds in particular without a band on their legs, you would actually be in serious trouble and have a hard time finding ones to photograph. But classic behaviour for the tui, a really, really good subject, and they can be really, really hard to photograph particularly well. And try to focus in on their bib, because if you're focusing on other things, then you in actual fact find that it's going to be underexposed. But nice try, but under your system, not quite an acceptance. Let's go. Okay. Again, you're suffering from a really, really bright day. And again, like I said with the other comment about the seals, they will actually go out of their way to actually show off if you really want to. So in this instance here, it's hard to see what's really going on. You got obviously sort of the rubbing, but you're not really seeing the face, so you're not really getting any personality of the subject, and I think that's the thing they've got to think about here. You could argue about the sort of distraction on the edge there over on the side, but really, when you've got a subject which is actually going to be quite happy to actually hang around and do things, and there are plenty of seals around, take your time and get that really, really good shot, and focus on the behaviour, so it's not passive. Try to get something doing something, and even if it's looking at you, growling, yawning, hoiking something up, but get the eyes, get it really nice and sharp, is really, really helpful. Okay. The stilt, it was really quite interesting the way the shape of the animal looks. Bit soft was the critical thing about this, but it was very, very close. Bit central as well. And I think you could have actually provided a wee bit more room with it. I should probably need to take my eyes off and look at it on the screen again. Yeah, and it looks fine and not too bad there, but you can see that it's not perfectly sharp. And it's something that, think about here what your shutter speed is and your ISO, almost there but not quite. Yet another seal, young seal. It's a bit soft, is the key thing about it. If you can have a good look at this, you'll find that it's not tack sharp. On the screen it's a wee bit hard to tell here, but think about your depth of field, and again, it's a subject that is actually you can actually spend some time with, so focus on that. And I'm going to find my thing here. Because you've got the time, spend that time. They're always in this sort of type of rocky environment, but try to think of how you can separate it out from the background. Okay. Seen a similar one of those in the thing today. Oh, okay, it's not. I thought for a minute it was looking a bit off. It's a classic type of shot that everybody takes. So the use of colour and the lighting's pretty good here. I quite enjoyed that. Slightly reddish tints to it than what often you see, but that can be the light within the canopy, so nothing to get sort of upset about there. I like the composition. I like the way that it actually came up from this corner and then curves around before the top corner. I thought that was really quite well done. And again, maybe a wee bit more thinking about the depth of field to actually just get those fronds just going back into just being like a green and dark green shape would have actually sort of made this composition a wee bit better. Okay, not a croc you want to get close to, obviously enough. But for this one here, the key thing I was wondering about is how come you didn't get the entire crocodile? If you actually had a really good look into the eye, and that was going to be really the focus, seeing the open mouth and the eyes glowering at you, cropping completely to that, but otherwise you're missing out, 2/3 of the body, and I think that sort of has let you down a wee bit here. And again, that depth of field thing here, you can see the body actually fades away and gets softer as you go. And if you, obviously on the back of it, it's getting quite bright, and whereas at the jaw, a bit of interest, the main part of interest in this is all down in here, but you're actually losing some of the detail you really need there because there's a wee bit too much in the shadow. So all of these things here, it's just really a question of thinking about what you're photographing and how to really display that in its best way. Okay. We've seen lots and lots of aurora today or tonight, and this one here I thought it really needed to be a portrait not a portrait, but a landscape type image. It seemed a wee bit unbalanced, if you like, just having this one ray going up and then a lot of red. I thought it could be done quite a bit better. The colour palette was a wee bit dull, but I think it's just one of these things, having a landscape, so you're actually seeing more of the image would have, or more of a show, would have actually helped here a lot. Find the right button. Okay, alrighty. This is a cup fungi on the west coast, probably I suspect in Lewis Pass, but I may be wrong. But that's the place where you get a lot of them in Dunedin, and it's overall for a fungi. Getting a fungi that looks really nice, and they can be really, really dramatic. This one here I think is a wee bit static, and one thing about it that my eye always end up going to one bit leaf that really started sort of getting at me a wee bit because it actually stood out, and your eye kept on going, maybe I'm being biased or something about looking at things too closely. But my eye kept on going from the cup through to that thing that almost looked like a bubble, and then you had a look on the other side there, and you've got that bit of scarification of whatever it is on the other side of the cup. So a lot of potential there, but for a thing that needs to be macro, it really wasn't quite sharp enough all the way through to give you the detail. Now, the white-faced heron is one of the favourite subjects of mine, and on my screen here it's a wee bit too centred, and I also think it's not a bad shot. As in catching these things actually in flight with a degree of sharpness is actually sort of really, really hard work, and it's almost good. Perfect colour, so it really, really was close, but it was really, actually I said the colours are slightly out, but that's probably because of having a look at it on my high-res screen, but also not quite sharp enough, and when the number of expectation of acceptances and higher is fairly tough in your club, so that means that some things which are on the margin sort of sometimes miss out. But that was a good effort. I actually quite enjoyed that image. Hoarfrost. And again, it's maybe I'm a wee bit biased, but I would actually probably have liked to have seen this in a landscape type subject matter, because you're not really getting, and I think also the way that the tones or the contrast has been handled, you don't really get a good idea of the that rhyming that's going on, rimming that's going on, if you want to call it that. You're just seeing it could be a black and white or it could be an infrared image, and you're not really quite seeing it as being the subject matter that you're trying to convey. And so slightly too bright in places, and you can see that on the my right-hand side there, things are starting to blend into the sky a wee bit, and so it's again, particularly here, we don't get frosts in Gisborne, but you do down here, and it's something worth exploring a wee bit more. And whether or not you've actually got the two sides competing with each other. So again, these hoarfrosts don't move very fast. You've got time to study the composition and think about what's actually the best way to convey it. Excuse me. Okay, rose weevil. Quite like the cropping of this, and but when you have a good close look at it, and again, probably it doesn't look too bad there, but you can see a whole lot of colour and specular highlights on the back of it when you're looking at it on screen. And it always is a bit difficult when you're actually then looking at it through a projector where you don't actually get the same degree of resolution. I like the background, or the lack of background. I thought that was extremely well handled. And again, this is one of those ones which I think with a judge who's probably not quite so picky might actually get through. Okay. Giant northern petrels doing what they do. They're the terriers of the sea in many ways. They really do sort of scrap around and fight like cats and dogs. And obviously if you're out, you will notice that often these northern petrels will actually spend so much time fighting amongst themselves that they never ever get to the burley that has been put out in the boat. And so they're too busy doing this rather than actually doing what they should do, which is have a feed. And really good action. This is what they do, so it's a really good story. One thing about it, if you have a look at that image in there, you can actually start seeing some signs of diffraction coming in. So maybe it's been cropped in a wee bit, or there's something about how it was focused, but it's also slightly soft. Well, diffraction is basically a lens effect. So, for example, if you've got a lens which isn't quite long enough, and you're actually looking at something quite a long way away, and you think, oh, it's a wee bit too small in the frame, and you crop in, then you'll actually see sort of these odd artifacts starting to sneak in, particularly around the edges, but without it being a white rim, which, over softening type rim, and that's a sign of potential sign of diffraction. And you can also get it, not in this situation, because I suspect it wasn't warm or hot, but you can also get it when you get heat haze. You get that sort of funny haze type effect sometimes in imagery we weren't expecting it. But a really, really good effort. Go out there again. I guess this was Kaikoura again. Plenty of opportunities there for some really, really great photographs. I go there again when I can, which isn't much. And when I'm going, I normally ring up and say, what's the weather like? And they say, oh, it's not too bad. And I said, is it sunny? And they say, yes, okay, can I wait until later, go tomorrow when it's overcast? In this sort of type of environment, good weather is not your friend. Obviously, if you get seasick, bad weather is not your friend either. So you've actually got to get that really nice spot in the middle, and overcast skies is your friend taking photographs of any type of wildlife like this. It actually gives you nice diffuse light, gets rid of all the highlights, and your exposure will work quite well. So another one, but I don't know whose it is, but this is a good effort, but have a good close look at it. The main thing it was a wee bit soft. Okay, again, another one I really, really liked, but it was one of those ones where I think a bit of cropping would have actually helped out. And again, the distraction was all of this material over here, where you can see that those stuff there, it just starts to become distracting from the subject. And again, I think the real subject matter here was sticking in right in the middle. And that there, if it had been cropped in, if you had the room for it, would have been a really great image, and I would have ranked it highly, quite differently. So, think about your composition. I guess one of the things is keep it simple is always my thing. And if you keep it simple, you'll get rid of all these things like those specular highlights there. Focus in on what really is the story and stick with it. And a simple image here, I think, would have done you quite well. Because I did quite like that central element there. It worked really well for me. But it was those things on the side that really didn't help much. Okay. Getting these fellows, welcome swallows, in flight is actually really, really hard. Getting them in flight and very, very sharp is even more difficult. This one here really did have a look like it'd been over sharpened, as in you're starting to lose detail there quite a bit, but a really good potential shot, good background, or good lack of background, and I really do like the shape, but when you have a good close look at it, you find that you're starting to lose detail where it really matters. So sort of a really good potential there, but sort of needs to go a bit further. Okay, that must be the way it goes. You get all the these ones first. It's a good story. I really quite like this. Again, it's actually obviously a lot of very, very busy background in this case, and you often get that. So where you got these dragonflies hanging out, again, spend your time, and they'll often be buzzing around and land, and you've got to be patient, spend time with them, and overall a good use of cropping, but again, this on the side here, remember I'm always talking about edge distractions, that was not really necessary, and when the author can go and have a look at it, you'll see that it's a bit soft, and needs a bit of sharpening, but not too much. So I like the actual shape of the dragonfly, and if you get these things right, then you can get a really stunning image. Okay, got a question: Is this a seal? Which is, or is it a sea lion? I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure it's a sea lion, but I may be wrong. So you can tell me off afterwards. But again, it's suckling. But and are you really getting enough of the subject to actually give you that emotional impact that you'd expect from this sort of scene? Don't want to get too close to them, and that you're not supposed to go within 20 metres of these. But again, maybe it was, if you had the right lens, you actually zoomed in on the pup suckling and see whether or not that would actually give you a better image. But these are things that are really great things to see, but really, really focus on getting the best shot you can when you're there. Excuse me. Okay, almost excellent image. And obviously you've got there it's called a crab, but it's really got one fatal flaw, and you've chopped off the tail, and it's would be an acceptance. Well, it is an acceptance. I must have been really. It's got enough going for there. Again, I said white-faced heron is one of my favourite subjects, and you've got the action there, the crab, but you have let yourself down there by not quite getting all the tail in when you've cropped it. Okay, Bornean bark mantis. So I'm guessing somebody's been to Borneo from that. Situation like this, probably, it's a really good effort. I'd probably like to see a wee bit more depth of field. And I was just wondering why here didn't get it quite a slightly wider view, so you actually got that feeler off to the side, sort of not being cut off. Would have been quite good, but it's a really good story, and you're definitely showing the peak of action with him having a bit of a munch there. And you've got all the jaw details, so that was a really good effort. And you can still see some texture there in the eye, but definitely sort of a good effort. And that was an acceptance, right. Okay, variable oyster catcher. Again, getting these things in flight and getting them nice and sharp is really good. Now, there's one thing I really liked about this, which is probably breaking all the rules, but in actual fact, I really liked this and that together. I thought that it was almost like it's a big plane flying over over a desert landscape. It was really, I thought that was quite a cool effect, which really hadn't seen both of them being sharp before. And so it's slightly soft on the bird, but then again it's flying, and he managed to presumably had the shutter speed nice and fast to capture that, because the ground was actually nice and sharp. Otherwise, if you're panning, it would have been blurred out. So, bit of good effort, and again, one of those subjects where getting birds in flight and getting them perfectly sharp is really, really hard work. Okay, I'm not going to actually bother even pronouncing that. I don't think. Well, now I can't because it's disappeared off the thing. I think this is from memory, South Korea. It's native of, and good use of light. I quite like all of this stuff down here, and I don't actually object to all of the bright highlights there from the lens, but the one that did really annoy me a wee bit was this one down here. You start thinking about as the moon rising over your flowers. So it's quite a nice image, but I think about whether or not a bit of a crop at the bottom. Some people don't mind, but I get a wee bit sort of tetchy about having horribly blurred foregrounds. Don't mind blurred backgrounds, everybody does. But a wee bit too much of that sort of can get in the way a bit and make it distracting. And a couple of bright areas there which let you down as well. Okay, white heron at Lake Nhpi. And there's some real, Nhpi is obviously one of those really good places to spot these. A few years ago we had about 20 odd new white herons turn up, blown in a storm from Australia. And so we've got a population there that tends to be a wee bit biased towards hanging out there in non-breeding season, but they remarkably enough seem to have joined up for breeding with the ones down at Okarito. Good action, good use of colour and good use of light. A wee bit too bright. That's the one thing about white herons, is that they're very, very hard, because they are so white, to actually get them so that their background isn't too dark and the feathers are actually not burnt out. So pretty good effort there. I don't mind the reeds. That's what's there on the by the car parking area at Lake Nhpi. So what you see is what you get. Don't penalise people for just photographing what's there. And it's enough, and it's general enough or uniform enough that it doesn't in itself a distracting element. It's actually showing the bird in its habitat. Excuse me. Slightly soft, and I must have been typing in a hurry. Some of the feathers are actually a wee bit blurred in the movement, so maybe a slightly faster shutter speed would have solved the problem with it being slightly bright, and also sort of actually captured that motion. So with any of these things here, you know, if you want to have anything blurred on it, get it really blurred so that you've actually got something still in focus and it's flying, and the wings are a bit blurred because they're moving in a hurry. That's fine. But when they're fairly static and just doing a shake like he is here, should have a shutter speed that's fast enough to actually capture it. Okay. Again, you know, I'm a bit of a stickler for fungi. I quite enjoy them. These look a wee bit like, I wouldn't say triffids, but sort of, there was some sort of science fiction horror movie out there which had things that looked a wee bit like this, which went and devoured people. Again, they're a bit of merging together. Good use of light, and I like the way it's cropped. The thing that did start to is this thing here. I'm not quite sure if it's actually in the image or a flaw, but if you have a close look at it, it's actually got a little wee, looks like a little wee, very, very like a needle. So is it something pinned on? It almost looks like, I'm sure it isn't. But have a look at that. Obviously it's a nature image, so you can't get rid of it. But just be very, very careful of those distracting elements, because it can, once you see it, it looks very small, but once you see it, you can't not see it, and that's the thing which is a bit of a pain. Okay, white rhino. Not objecting to the fact that it's actually in a park, because they've obviously, within those areas, free to ramble around. In actual fact, it's a good way of protecting the species which are under a lot of pressure. But again, a wee bit of detail lost, and it just tends to blend in a bit with the background. I'd, be better if it's actually charging at the photographer. So I think that would be really great, make a great image. And your widow could actually then show the image for you. That would be really, really great. It's actually not a bad image in actual fact. I can't remember how I scored it because I can't see it up here, but I'm a bit of a fan of it showing a whole lot of action. So if he'd been a bit grumpy and sort of making a bit of a challenge, and actually a bit of dust on its legs, things like that. But overall, not a bad effort. Okay, yet another white-faced heron, really nice and sharp, and doing what these things do, which is just sometimes hanging out there, looking around, waiting to see when you go away, so it can have a nice ruffle to give you, which would have given you the big shot that you really, really want to do. And they tend to sort of hang around waiting for you to go away, and then they'll do it. So you've got to be really patient with these subjects, and they tend to like to fly away because they can be a bit flighty. So you've caught it being a bit chill, nice and sharp, colour almost perfect, and again, sort of if you get the right light, the breast area here will come quite a bit redder if you get the light right, and it's quite a nice thing. But a dull day is perfect for photographing these beasties, but a favourite subject of mine. Okay, little shag. Little shags again can be really, really flighty. They don't like having people get too close, so a decent telephoto lens is very, very useful. This one is perfectly coloured, nice and sharp, and a nice simple image, and nice background, obviously looking up at the sky, and it's a fairly chill portrait of this little shag, and I quite like that. Okay, Drake wood duck. These are the brightest duck in the world, and when you see them in the flesh, which I was lucky to do earlier this year, they're quite a cool bird, and a good subject. I think again, if there tend to be quite a number of these around where you are photographing them, so you normally do have a bit of time to actually go and get photographs of them. There's but you probably couldn't do much with the day. There's a bit of highlights behind, but not too bad. But on the beak, it's a wee bit bright, and but a good shot. I quite enjoyed that. Okay, masked tree frog. I like the way this is cropped. Really, really nice and sharp where it counts. And he's probably not really engaging with you as the photographer, but it looks like he is. I like the way that he's got his little toes hanging out there on the leaf, and the background's nice and muted, and it works really quite well. Couldn't do anything about it, of course, either in post or at the time, but obviously a little wee cobweb there, sort of you spot it and go, meh, but that's a good image. You're not going to get grumpy over things like that. That was a very nice image. Okay, dabchick, and this is obviously a member of the grebe family, and not a chick in the sense that they dab chicks have chicks. And they're generally speaking a North Island species, but gradually spreading into the South Island. They're great little wee things to photograph. The chicks are even nicer. About this time of the year, the chicks will be starting to, well, very soon the chicks will be coming out. And one thing that really sort of brought it home to me, and I really enjoyed this one, was the feathers in the mouth. Added an extra bit of interest. Nice and sharp, and good colour, and so I enjoyed this image a lot. Okay, now I almost gave this the top prize purely simply because somebody's gone out of their way to photograph a sparrow. And so brownie points for that, but I really like the composition. I like the way it's framed between the two twigs, and that background makes it look really, really chilly, a cool background, but it's sharp where it counts. And actually, right here, if person can, that you can actually see that's a sign of a bit of diffraction there around that. If you have a look at it, if as a photographer, once you see those type of things, it's hard to get away from. But the subject itself is lovely and sharp. I always like it when you've got a full face onto you and it's sharp from the beak all the way through behind the eyes, losing a wee bit down here, but it's really, really sharp where it counts. So that was a lovely shot. I really enjoyed it. And it doesn't need to be a rare and exotic species. Good old house sparrow. They can make really good subjects. And I like that shot a lot. Oh, okay. Not turning up on my screen, but that's all right. Pied shags, and doing what they do really well, sort of particularly this time of the year, sort of building their nest. And not on there, so I'll just go over here and have a look at it. It's really good interaction, sort of, you might sort of think, oh, but that twig's distracting, but the one of the birds is actually going and supplying that twig to its partner. Try again. I don't want to touch it because it's up there, so anyway. Oh well, we've got it there, that's the main thing. Perfect coloration, maybe a wee bit of slight burnout in a couple of places, so you can get that sort of slight reddish tinge in a couple of places, which you can get with burnout. But I thought that was a really, really nice shot. It's obviously somewhere where you've got the hand of man in here, but it's nicely blurred out, so I'm not really too upset with it. I thought that was a really nice image. Oh, there you go. So we might have...
Yeah, I've lost them now. Go with it. But it's your last one.
We should have another... It should be in my center.
Pardon?
Should,
Yeah.
let's see if I can go back.
It's stuck.
Oh well.
Oh, you have to go back one? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that must be the next one. Okay. So let's try again. Okay. Keep on going because there should be, you've got the, I'll just go off here, Laughing Kookaburra. Yep, there should be another one coming up. Good action, sort of, you really hope that it's a cane toad, that it's having a bite of, tossing around, but it's not nice and sharp, good action. I kept on thinking about this thing here. Initially I thought it was having a poo at the same time, but then I realised it wasn't, it was just a twig. But again, a nice shot. And this is one of those instances where I mentioned before about sort of things around the edge of the frame being distracting, but in that top there, it's been blurred up enough so that it didn't really become a distraction. It actually just was part of the story, so I didn't really mind that too much. And so that was a very, very good shot. I enjoyed it, and I'll let you do the next one. Okay, Mycena in the Inner Valley. This is a lovely shot. I really enjoyed this, and that's one of the things I miss about no longer being in the South Island, is not having a great opportunity to photograph fungi that you do on the West Coast. So the West Coast is a real mecca for fungi, got it going. I really enjoyed this image. You've obviously got slight the colour things happening here, which is very, very characteristic of doing this type of macro photography. But you're showing it in the environment, and all those distractions that can come in if you don't do it right aren't there. Nice and sharp, and I just particularly like the fact that it almost looks like a lampshade glowing there, and I thought that was a very, very good shot. And I think that might have been, okay. Oh, one more, at least. Okay, grey-crowned crane. Great shot. Now, I mentioned this thing about hand-of-man from time to time, and the thing about it is that this crane, he doesn't give a stuff that he's actually sitting on a roof of a property. That's his habitat, as far as he's concerned, and I'm fine with that. And it's not distracting. That's where he lives. That's what he does. Lovely sharp image, good colour, and this is actually a crane that you definitely wouldn't want to take home to your mother. It looks like it's got real attitude, but I just really like the way that it all just blends, well, not blends, that's the wrong word, but gels together. And I just like that sort of really rough look to its rough, and just the way it's all looking there. It's a bit central, but I didn't worry me at all. On my screen, it's actually not central at all, and maybe just the way I'm looking at it on an oblique angle. But I thought this was a lovely image. So whoever took it, and if they were worried about the hand of man, they didn't need to worry, as I didn't object at all. And then we'll go black. Okay, right. Now, one good thing about that judging tonight is that I have not had any rotten tomatoes thrown at me, so that's a plus. And I guess the other key thing about it is don't take any of my comments negatively. That's all, the idea is try to be helpful and sort of suggest things about how to do things better. So, see, here we go. So, what's the next step?
Yep. Right, thank you very much, Murray. That was awesome. What we'll do now is we'll award the awards. So if you might mind popping down here, and we'll go through them one at a time, and we'll send those out.
Right.
And after that, I've got some special for you.
Cool.
Okay, so first of all, we've got a White-Faced Heron by Adrian Gentleman. So we'll pass it on.
There you go.
Sorry, I cut his tail off. Oh.
Yeah. Well, but you'll remember it next time, won't you?
Yes, you will. We have, I'm so lucky. Like normally if the judge isn't here, I have to try and read these out in Latin. And I'm really bad at it.
Yeah.
This is for JK.
Okay, JK. Cool. So it's Themapoma bornea.
I don't know how to. Thank you.
Cool.
And we have a variable oyster catcher for John Ben. He's probably not here because he's up
Okay.
in the North Island.
Okay.
A Pooley, is that thing, by Hek Chan Kim.
what you do is you just break it down into little wee syllables. So pulsatilla, pulsatilla, tongangoensis. Yep.
It's my
Well
Latin
done.
lesson.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, white heron at Lake Mahinapua. There you go. Now this one even, multi-clavier, Musindia, Nina Valley. Yeah, Alan. Right.
Here's a good one.
Ceratotherium, somebody's mum, white rhinoceros. Yeah. One of the things about it is that, don't worry if you don't have the right Latin. Well, if you do have the Latin name, make sure you get it right. And it's fine to have the common name. But anyway, white-faced heron. And this one here has got the Terreo name as well. And that's Bonnie. And she's here. Little shag. Found in the Corax. Right. Okay, the wood duck. Ex-bonza. And one more. Right. And then masked tree frog, Trish Brown. She's probably not here either. Yeah, she'll be up in Pelorus enjoying herself.
Yeah.
New Zealand dabchick, Sue Coombs.
She'll be travelling.
That's the thing, is people are still getting over the COVID lockdowns and still wanting to travel all the time. Sparrow of Little River. And that's an honours.
Just a sparrow.
But that's really good. I think actually a real special hand for somebody actually having the courage to enter a sparrow in a natural history competition. That was very well done. Okay, pied shag's nest building. Very well captured.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, laughing kookaburra frog. Well done, Dawn. Right. Okay, Mycena Kukehia in Nina Valley, John Hawkins. Thank you. You must be lucky last. Okay, and this was the honours and best in show, the grey-crowned crane, Barry Denge. Who I suspect is not here. No.
Sometimes we have the opportunity to let a couple of the people that got the higher awards tell a little bit about their stories.
Yep.
So let's just do that for a couple of the images. So if we can just go back over a couple of those, Alistair. Would you like to say something about yours?
Yes, definitely in the Nina Valley, and when we had the trip up there earlier this year. This was just sitting in the sunshine. It looked perfect. Just a little bit of sun shining on it, and didn't do much post-processing later on. It was just there to take.
Nice.
So was it one image or was it stacked?
One image.
Not stacked in camera.
No. So F22 or something like that. Cool.
Would you like to say something about your sparrow, Jared?
Yeah.
Oh, Dawn, sorry. It's not a sparrow, what am I thinking?
This is an Australian sparrow. So my husband spotted it and I took its photo. It must have spent 10, 15 minutes beating. It is a cane toad, is it?
I'm not sure. There's
Yeah, I wasn't either, but
Yeah.
I know they're poisonous for them to eat, but it was beating it up that much. I thought it might have been trying to
So was it in Queensland?
New South Wales.
Yeah, probably not a cane toad then.
Oh, no, it wasn't Queensland. We were in Noosa. Yeah. So it could
Yeah, I
be.
think- Yeah, the cane toads are quite large, so
Yeah.
depending on the size of the kookaburra, so.
Yeah, so it spent a long time tenderising it anyway, which was good for the photographer. And I took a couple of videos of it, which didn't turn out, so that was annoying.
Yep.
When you're excited, when the action's in front of you.
Yeah, well done.
You can't remember where it is.
Thank you. I think it was probably out at Waikuku. I've got hundreds of photos of shags building nests and similar. Yeah, I just liked the way that one was handing the other one the stick, and they were fairly clear and didn't have too many branches in front of them, which is quite rare.
Yep.
Yeah, and the
And-
lighting was actually reasonably nice.
And right by the road.
Yeah, I think it was there. And if it was, it wasn't man-made on the back because there's nothing
Yep.
behind
Maybe
it.
it's
but
a,
Is there one more?
well, we've got to have the sparrow.
I think we're heading to Akaroa and then just having a coffee stop at Little River. And then there are trees nearby and birds come and go. There are nicer birds, but they don't stop long enough for me to take, so this is what I have left. So, yeah, thank you.
It's a lovely shot.
Is that the last of the honours, Alistair? Oh, Sue's not here. Okay, I think that'll do us. Thank you very much. On behalf of all of us at the club, Murray, we'd like to thank you very much, and a little gift from everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Really appreciate the
Okay,
judging. And I'll hand it back to Heidi. Thanks, everyone.
Now I'll turn this off.
Just spoke to me to close. Don't forget tonight, if you've got a projected image, just PI 8 needs to go in before midnight. So get it in really quickly if you haven't. Drive home safely and see you soon. Good night.